Start recording. All right. All right, everybody. Welcome to session 3 of Ingersoll Rand Sourcing Lab. Today we're going to work on LinkedIn and Facebook sourcing. So again, always feel free to ask questions during the presentation. You can ask, if you have questions afterwards, feel free to reach out to myself, Lindsay, Polina, or both Lindsays, I should say. And we'll go ahead and get started. So where we've kind of evolved in the series, so session 3. So we started with sourcing basics, then we got into a little bit about Chrome extensions. So now we're going to start putting everything together a little bit. So we're going to start with the basics of sourcing and then the basics of Chrome extensions and using those throughout LinkedIn and Facebook. So everything ties in together. Sourcing is sourcing. It's just making sure you're using the right tools with the right systems and the right words and using things most efficiently, right? So there's a lot of options out there, so we want to make sure we're just using what we have first and foremost, and then using what we have most efficiently. So let's go ahead and get started here. So starting off, I found this interesting stat. So LinkedIn is still the most popular place where people are looking for candidates, contacting candidates, able to post jobs. LinkedIn is definitely the cream of the crop these days in terms of recruiters are using it still as the most popular social site. Yeah, you can use Indeed and all that to find really active candidates, but a lot of times we're looking for passive candidates or those A plus players, and that's where we're going to find it. So I'll go over through LinkedIn for the first half. We're going to do topics of search, proper messaging, and then managing candidates from LinkedIn. And of course, now that we have a new pipeline tool within MyHire, that's going to be a big part of how we manage candidates. So we'll get started here. Going to talk a little bit about the search itself. So searching is the first topic or the first bullet point that I want to discuss. Planning your search. I've been guilty of it before where I just jump into a search. I know what I'm looking for. I don't need to plan it out. Well, I feel like I cost myself time by doing that. When I don't actually sit and take the time to think about what I'm looking for and, maybe even not write it out on a piece of paper, but write it out on a note within an email or just a document, then I feel like it takes me in a lot of different ways. So the more efficiently I can source, the more effective I am. We'll talk more about building Boolean strings. So we've talked a little bit about Boolean before already, but we're going to get into the best places to use the Boolean strings or to have the Boolean strings built for us. And then using your filters. So LinkedIn got really friendly in terms of the regular LinkedIn, just where you can search it a lot more efficiently now as compared to it was a lot harder. You weren't able to separate people, so now it's actually quite efficient. So I will be running through demos throughout this. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to write a message on the instant messenger, and then or you can also just speak up and interrupt me. No problem at all. So, all right. So planning out your search. This is huge. So here are some questions I put together just in terms of things to think about. It could be considered standard work, but I think we all have different requirements and different planning methods based on what type of job we're working on. So geographical area, that's always a big one for me. Is the job local? Is it a bigger territory if we're talking sales? What kind of geographical area is going to get a candidate's interest as well? Look for candidates from another region or country. That's pretty far out of the step, but I did want to make this a global opportunity. I mean, we are working on a global account manager for Thermo King, so I am able to look for a different region or another country for that job, so that's why I put it in there. And I think it's applicable for global positions, no question. What communities are they a part of? That's huge. Energy engineers, they're part of a certified energy manager group. ASHRAE, all the commercial HVAC associations. Those associations are places and keywords that I search all the time. If I'm looking for a service salesperson, I usually search through BOMA as a keyword, Building Owners Management Association. So really understanding the different communities that the people I'm looking for are a part of, actually make me a way better sourcer in terms of finding those people. What companies? That's always a given. Working with our managers, asking them who's working where, who's what, who do we need to stay away from. Schools, educational institutes. That's actually an interesting one. Perhaps an entirely different industry. I skipped that part. Schools and educational institutes. That's pretty interesting. Later on in the series, a couple months from now, Polina found a nice new tool within LinkedIn to really help us dive a little deeper through schools and educational universities that we can really, really do some effective sourcing on. What events are they participating in? Are they going to big conferences? Are they part of local chapters? That's always a good place to dig. And then where are they spending their time? Social media, blogs, websites, job boards. Understanding where people are is a great way to find those people. Putting yourself in the shoes of another person, it really helps you figure out who they are and where they are and what they're doing. So some more planning out the search is through basic LinkedIn searching, you can actually search these keywords. Seeking, seeker, looking for, in search of, open to new job, actively pursuing. And this will be in the PowerPoint that we upload to the SharePoint, and it'll be on the YouTube channel. But these are neat words to really segregate, who might be open to new opportunities at this time. So I did a pre-search just to, make sure this was all working and see what's out there when you do that. So what I found was by putting those keywords in place, the seeking, the job searching, you get, what is that, 18 million results, 652,373. Of course, that's a ridiculous number to go through. But that's where the filters on the right come in, and we'll get a little more into it as we go. But I can narrow it down by location, current company, past company. Why don't we just start with, let's go to New York today. We do Chicago a lot since I'm sitting here, but let's diversify. All right, so New York, that knocks it down to 641,000. So you got a lot of people looking for jobs, actively seeking full-time mechanical engineering opportunities. Looks like he's connected to Caroline and some other people. HVAC control, BMS engineer looking for a new opportunity. So this is interesting. Not only should we be reaching out to these people that are actively looking for jobs, but this gets into our whole pipelining effort. So if we're pipelining and we're looking through this list, okay, HVAC, BMS control engineer, I'm not really looking for him, but I should probably connect with him anyway. I don't have a current job, but having that mindset of when you're looking through LinkedIn with a bigger pair of glasses, a company-wide scope of glasses, these are opportunities for everyone within the company to help out another person within the company. We can get direct source numbers, we can get higher sourcing numbers, not just by filling our own jobs, but by passing along candidates like this especially active candidates like this, over to different business units and different taps throughout the country. That's definitely an opportunity for us to grow as a business and to grow as a talent acquisition team. All right. Here we go. So that's a little bit of when you're searching LinkedIn, if you want to do the active seeker search, that's a great way to go about it. Building the specific Boolean strings for LinkedIn. So this is where I pretty much use three. Sometimes I want to keep it real basic. Sometimes I just want to search LinkedIn and I want to keep it really broad and really open as possible. So I'll run through the three that are. These will get you very advanced Boolean strings. These are not going to get you, HVAC plus controls or product plus manager. These are going to get a little deeper, which is great for what we're looking for. So LinkedIn Searcher, LI Searcher is what it's called, lisearcher.com. So this is going to get you your Google X-ray results. So LI Searcher. So LI Searcher Beta, great tool. I use it often. So what it does is it takes your search query and it brings it out to Google. So it does what we call a LinkedIn Google X-ray search. And the point of that is to Not if you don't have a lot of capability within LinkedIn or a lot of access, it'll put together a list of candidates within a specific market, and you can just run through, put them on a list. You can work with your manager to see who you want to contact. There's a lot of value in here. So let's do basic. Let's do Johnson Controls or Train or Daikin. And you can even sort by, let's see here, advanced options. Keywords, let's do New York. Okay. And then what it does is you hit search. And then what it does is presents a keyword search, or it creates your Boolean search down here. So you got all the aggregators. You got the pluses, you got the ors, you got the New York. So it does site www.linkedin.com. So that's going to pull anybody from New York with those company names. So then you simply open the search in Google. And what it does is it gives you a list of people that work at those 3 companies within New York City. Again, great way if you're looking for a quick name generation list to build. It can be broad. You can add a lot to it. Let's get a little more advanced with it. Let's go back a step, and let's do Daikin and New York. And let's get specific to account executive. Just do the sales engineer. Let's see what it populates. So account executive, sales engineer. It might be a little broad, but let's check it out. Corporate events, Daikin. New York City Daikin, Greg DiNardo, PE. So again, it didn't get it as close as I wanted. I mean, you do have a sales engineer for Daikin, but you talk to this the way you want it to read out. So whatever I want to see, I can see. I just need to make sure I'm putting in the right information. So let's try it again. Let's just do HVAC, a little more broad. And then open the search. Right. So this is going to give me a list of all Daikin names in New York City. Again, a great opportunity to look through the different titles, and maybe we're just looking for Daikin people in New York City, service sales. And again, this is where I can pull out keywords from the names I'm seeing here. So they call their account manager service. They call them service sales representatives. So maybe I go back and do a search for service sales in quotations. What do we got here? Vice President of Business Development. So I do business development in quotations. Again, you tweak it, you modify it to what you really want to see here. And then the next one we're going to do for Boolean building is HireTool. I guess let me take a break. Any questions? I can stop for a moment. Anything deeper diving there that I need to get into?
Tim, I had a question going back to the active seeker search that you pulled up. What would be the benefit of that versus the open to opportunities, tab that you can select on LinkedIn?
Yep. So not everyone has full recruiter seats as to where you can see open to new opportunities. So this is the way that we can use our LinkedIn's without paying $7,000 to $10,000 per seat. So.
All right, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Next Boolean builder is HireTool. So we've talked about HireTool a lot. We talked about it last week when we were doing Chrome extensions. HireTool is you're able to find people's contact information, kind of like Profit. So if you pull up someone's profile on LinkedIn, when you're logged in properly, you can pull up Profit or HireTool and find if their contact information is out there and available. It's similar to Contact Out, another one that we were using. Looks like it's giving me problems. Oh, I have to sign in and stuff. Anyway, HireTool and Profit and Contact Out, they all have similar functions when it comes to finding people's contact info. But you can also build searches here. So if we're looking for salespeople, and we'll just do quick mode just to run through it pretty quick. You can upload resumes, you can upload job descriptions, mandatory skills. So this is where it searches the skills section of LinkedIn. So say we're looking for salespeople within HVAC, and let's do New York. Okay. And here you can choose a platform as to where you want it to search. So you have LinkedIn, Google, Bing, Twitter, a wide variety of places. I find that it works the best when I'm using LinkedIn. So you click on the selection, or you can click on Google. You click on those, do Search Talent Now, and that'll bring you to your search results. So what it does is bring up anybody in sales that has HVAC within their profile within New York City. Again, you can do a lot of this just by going to regular LinkedIn, but they use a lot more of the profound aggregators, and what I mean by the aggregators is the ands and ors. They do a lot of the nots, so we're not looking for this, we're not looking for that. So it really refines what you're looking for and brings.
Hey Tim, I know.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Steve Handelman.
Oh,
go after him. Yeah, he's good.
You want us to go after him?
Oh, yeah, he's very good.
Okay. All right. So I'll send him an invite, and then what I'll do, we can get into that. It's actually part of the later conversation. So I'll try to connect with him. If he accepts, then I'll send him a note saying, hey, let's open some dialogue regarding opportunities here at Trane. See what he thinks. He might tell us to, he might not be interested, but that's okay. And you can also craft a proper message to that candidate, and we'll get into that as well. So. Thanks for the lead, Brian. I'll keep you posted there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. We can just make these calls and, searching for Brian's positions if you want, run through. And you can tell us who you want us to go after, and we'll do all that for you, buddy.
There you go.
Awesome. And then Source Hub. So Source Hub's a part of Social Talent. So you're going to start hearing a lot more about Social Talent in the near future. We're going to be doing some work with them and bringing back a lot of their sourcing capabilities. They're cool. Not only are they cool, but they have this little ninja guy over here that just hangs out on my screen all the time. So sometimes I'll just be looking and, I see this little ninja guy hiding in the corner and I kind of laugh. It's Lindsay's favorite too. I guarantee you that's what this little message is blinking is Lindsay saying something about the ninja. Anyways, so the ninja, how do you get to the ninja? So Social Talent, it's called Source Hub. So you just do a quick Google search and you get to their free Boolean builder. I do have an account with them, so you do have to sign in for a free account, it's free. I mean, they might send you some emails, which a lot of these companies do, because a lot of these companies are trying to get us to use their products. So when you're registering for free tools, they're probably trying to sell us a CRM system or Social Talent specifically does sourcing training. Which is fine. You will get some emails there, but let's see what it does here. So sales engineer, New York. Okay, here in New York City area. So Social Talent really takes it to the next level. So they take all these synonyms, and look at other applicable words. So you got applications engineer, field engineer. I don't really want that, but for the sake of just showing you how they operate, I do want to include it for right now. And again, this is a very similar search to HireTool, where it has all the different options. So you can do LinkedIn, you can do LinkedIn through Google. You got Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus. That's regular Google, sorry. GitHub, I'm not even sure what that is. I think it's more for IT. But either way, it's a pretty vast network. So I'll click on the LinkedIn and see what comes up for sales engineer with HVAC in New York City. So let's see, we got a sales engineer at LG. Awesome. So that's perfect for our Oh my gosh, our wireless. Brian, help me out. I drew a complete blank. Our wireless systems. What? Oh,
Really? Yeah. Yeah.
VRF. I'm sorry, VRF. There we go.
Oh, VR. Oh, well, that's yeah.
I
The
had a complete brain fart. I'm sorry about
split systems.
that.
Yeah.
And so anyway, sales engineer LG. So he's selling VRF systems. Huge, huge push for us right now. Daikin, sales engineer. Sales engineer, pyro signal and suppression. So that's probably fire alarms. But a lot of these people this guy used to work at Train, Yusuf, sales engineer, Daikin. So these are awesome, awesome names. Sales engineer, Brother Supply. Not sure if he's a fit for our commercial sales, but might be a fit on the residential side or parts. It just pulls up great, great people within the search, and where all these other synonym titles come in, like systems engineer, customer engineer, I'm not really sure how that falls under the search. I think it pulls up people with similar titles, because obviously if we're looking for sales engineer, we're not looking for service techs. And you can add more as well. So if you want to search sales engineer or account manager or something else, or sales business development, you can add your own titles. But it's a really neat tool to play around and find just a vast list of names. So this is when I'm doing the Source Hub search for Google. It's a little more broad. I'm not seeing LinkedIn names. Obviously that's getting a little too advanced. So if you look at what it did here is the sales engineer or technical, so it just added too many titles. So what I would do is tell it that it was kind of wrong and just do sales engineer. And I'll bet the results are going to be a lot better here. Okay. So now we're looking at just sales engineers in New York City. So you're still getting a lot of non-resumes. There might be resumes within these articles and publications, which is kind of neat sometimes. I mean, that's a different search for a different day, but it is pretty neat to see that, and just different avenues to find resumes, right? Like, we're always looking in the same spots, but Google's an opportunity for us to find different ones. So I will pause there for a minute. Any questions on the LinkedIn Boolean builders? Yeah, great. Filters on LinkedIn. So that's a great thing that they did by adding these back. They were gone for a little while. So you have your Boolean builders. So let's go over here. Let's get real broad with it. Let's just search HVAC. So on HVAC, you're going to get 790,000 names. Great. We like broad searches. We like all that. So let's look locations. Let's do a search for Charlotte, North Carolina. That's going to knock that down to 5,216. All right, so maybe we're getting a little more specific. Say we're looking for a product manager. So let's do HVAC and product manager. Oh, let me spell product manager correct. There we go. 255 results. Okay, so we're getting there. I'm seeing a lot of people that work at Ingersoll Rand, or probably did work at Ingersoll Rand, which is fine. This is just for the sake of the search. Let's get real hypothetical and say, hey, we want somebody from Purdue. This hiring manager went to Purdue, and he wants somebody that lives in North Carolina that works at Purdue, or went to Purdue as well, or Penn State. Let's do Penn State in honor of Polina here. So you knock that down. So there's actually 10 people with HVAC and product manager in their resume that live in Charlotte, North Carolina, that went to Penn State. So these filters on the right, they've made them very, very easy. You can use them to find people that are friends of friends. So if I'm doing a search and I want to keep people out of it that I'm connected to already, I'll do a second connection. If I'm not looking for the first connection, it's people I've talked to. I'm looking for new people. I'll just do second. That kind of lends people to be a little more open. Maybe they know somebody at Ingersoll Rand already. So if they know someone at Ingersoll Rand, maybe they're more likely to be interested in Ingersoll Rand. So again, I'm always trying to put myself in the shoes of the candidate. And why would a candidate be interested in us? And those tend to be the top targets because they're the ones closest to the fire already. Which usually is a good thing given our reputation. So that's a little bit about the filters. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just using them and making sure you're using them. They even have the option now where you can do connections of connections. So let's take that out. Let's take that out. So if we're looking in the product manager space, we know that Jen Baker is a big person within that world. Caroline, they're probably connected to a lot of people. So let's see if there's people that Caroline's connected to that fit that requirement. So there's 3 people that Caroline knows already. He works for us, so that's a bad example. But that's a really, really neat way. So, like, for instance, I'm connected to Jason Bingham. So if I want to search just by Jason Bingham here, and connections of Jason Bingham, so now I have 11 people with HVAC and wait. I'm sorry, I still got Penn State. So those 11 people went to Penn State. We're looking for a bigger pool than that. There we go. 437 people are connected to Jason Bingham that have HVAC in their profile. You can pretty much believe that if someone's connected to Jason Bingham, one of our president of residential, they probably have a pretty good taste. They either work at Trane or they have a good taste of Trane in their mouth. Jason's a dynamic leader, and having somebody that close to him is a great way to search through their connections and leverage what we have, right? We're trying to leverage our strengths. So, all right, contacting candidates. So invitation, that's where we want to talk about personalizing the message. Talk about the opportunity. Is it a promotion? Talk about the benefits of IR. I can't stress that enough. When I'm doing searches, say I'm looking for an area manager, I'm generally targeting sales managers for that kind of role. So what I would do is, let's pull up an example here. So Greg, he works somewhere. Okay. So I can connect, and I can add a note. So Greg, and here's again where I want to put myself in the shoes of the candidate. So Greg's a sales manager. So an area manager at Ingersoll Rand Trane is a step up for a sales manager. So I want Greg to know that when I send him this message, that this is going to be a step up for him. If he's interested, great. Maybe he's not looking at a new job at all. But I'm generally targeting people that, for one reason or another, are going to be drawn to that job, whether it be a promotion, whether it be things are a little shaky at Johnson Controls right now. What can I do, or who can I go after to see, or how am I going to increase my likelihood of getting a response is probably the best way to put it. So I'll customize that for Greg, send him a note. If he doesn't respond, I have a lot of other ways. Maybe he didn't see it, maybe he's busy and doesn't have time to check his LinkedIn. I have all my Chrome extensions, I have Google, I have white pages. I can look at all those different places to find his contact information. I gotta log in. Okay, so then there we go. So Greg does have a Comcast email address, gs-name@comcast.net. So there's a way to contact him directly if he's not responding to my connection request. Maybe he's not interested. That's why he's not responding. But I really want to at least get this information to. I'm sorry, George, not Greg. I really want to get this information to George, and in a personalized email or a direct email, I can give him more information. I can give him the job description, and that's more likely to attract somebody. If I can't find him there, I'll go to whitepages.com. I will do anything I can to find the contact information and look them up. So,
Hey, Tim.
Yes.
Hey, it's Damien. I just want to call out. You brought up a great point. Some of the feedback that I received from candidates as far as when they respond on LinkedIn and reasons why they respond is because, people actually pay attention to their profile, not necessarily just their skill set, and send out just a generic message. And you mentioned, like for that, some candidates, you say this is a step up in your career. So the next step, I guess, the next progression. So I think that's important. I think it's a really good point and a really good strategy, because that means you're really paying attention to what their experience is, outside of just their skill set, where they are in their career. And I think that's key as we think about differentiating ourselves from others who are contacting them as well. So good stuff there.
Yeah, thanks, Damien. I agree completely. I mean, I've had a lot of candidates say, it's so refreshing to get a call about my next step in my career. And, I get so many emails and phone calls about, like a sales manager will get a lot of calls about a sales job. Sometimes they want to step back, but more than likely they don't. And, it shows a lot of business acumen on our end. Hey, I can see this as your next career step. This is, we should talk at least, so you can at least learn about what the next step could mean for you, whether it's you're interested or not. So definitely, Damien, thank you for chiming in there.
Thank you.
Yep. So as I did a little bit of a demo there with Contact Out, that's another example of where it shows it'll show a phone number or email address if it's out there. And then we went through HireTool. That's the example of HireTool and all the fun craziness it can get into. Anything else on LinkedIn before I get into Facebook a little bit here? We're going to talk about Facebook sourcing next. Any last thoughts on LinkedIn before I move on? All right. So Facebook, this is the fun one. I know we've talked about it a little bit in the past. And where we're at today with it is we have results. So Brian, you might want to pay attention to this. So we had a Gartner candidate interview yesterday evening with a manager in Cleveland, and they're doing a second interview on Monday. Yep, and Kevin, his brother, is actually going to be interviewing as well.
Wow.
And how we got into contact with these people, so I think they're trying to interview both of them at the same time or something like that. Anyway, right, it's pretty weird.
Is mom going to be there too?
Right?
Just kidding.
All the cousins, everybody. But, it's interesting because Brian sent a list of Gartner techs that we wanted to reach out to. Not all of them were on LinkedIn. We were kind of out of resources. So how are we going to contact these people? So I actually went to Facebook and I contacted them. And one of them got back to me, one of the three that we contacted. And at first he was like, I didn't know if this was spam or not because I sent it through Facebook. And I'll even show the example of how I sent it. It actually taught me something pretty valuable that, maybe I should be putting in my message, hey, this is not a spam message. I meant to send you this, and you are the person we're looking for. But Facebook itself is, so I got two accounts here. So you got my personal account, that's my awesome nephew, and my professional account. And I did feel it was important to separate those two. I've talked about that before. And I just use this one for sourcing ideas. There's mainly sourcing things that I'm connected to here. You got building automation, recruiters online. It's kind of a fun way just to stay connected to the industry by using my work account, we'll call it, because a lot of time, the personal, you got memes all over it, and you got, join this or join that or support this organization, which is all great stuff. But I'm on this to find candidates. I want to use this as a tool for recruiting. So if you find these messages here, so this is the message I sent to Kevin England. Hi Kevin, sorry to reach out to you here, but I wanted to make sure we were discreet. We train have been growing fast and furious in Cleveland. We could use a couple more good controls techs. If you'd like to have a conversation, let me know a good number to reach you. So I feel like I could add more information to that. I think I should have added a direct email address. I should have added the line about it not being spam. And I got all that from talking to actually Billy, his brother. So, maybe I should have added some more information regarding, the nature of it and being a little more direct on how he could contact me. So, anyways, it was nice that it actually worked, and it showed me that they're actually seeing this message. That's really important to me. Were they going to see it? Is it going to get lost in the Facebook other folder, or where's it going to go? So, getting into how we can find people on Facebook to contact them like this is, again, we want to use this search pretty, intelligently. We don't want to just contact everybody. A lot of people can be found in a lot of ways, but as we've found, technicians are pretty tough and pretty special. That it's probably worth it to contact them on Facebook. John Collins, hope you're paying attention. I know, I see you posting your stuff on Facebook all the time, and I love it. I do think it's a great avenue for technicians, and I think that's where a lot of them would be most likely to at least see the message rather than, a LinkedIn message. I don't know how often they get in there. I don't know if they see it. So Intelligent Search is the Chrome extension we talked about. We talked a little bit about it last week. You can use it for LinkedIn, Twitter, the other sources, but I prefer to use it for Facebook sourcing. I think it's the most effective there. So we're going to search job, present, train, and then you can do and. Let's do lives, New York. Okay. So I want to see people that live in New York and work for Train. Let's see what comes up on Facebook here. All right, so we got a service coordinator at Train, a PA, a branch manager, service tech, bingo, Thomas Bays, HVAC maintenance tech at Train, technician at Train. So I have found that doing these searches, it's a little tougher to find, like searching by title. So sometimes the search doesn't work that well when you're putting a title in as well. So if you put job, you got technician already, and then you got train already. So if you do technician, and then train, lives in New York, we'll see what comes up. But sometimes I find the results to not be as fruitful. This worked pretty well this time. You do have a lot of results here. You got 5, 6, but still 6 technicians that I can reach out to and send a message to via Facebook. That's gold in my world, or at least I consider it to be gold. I know finding those tough to find candidates are just they're not very active, and they're not very social media savvy for LinkedIn usually. So I would assume majority of people use Facebook. I think 3 of my friends in life don't use it, so I assume it's pretty good odds for the real world. I'll stop here for a minute. Any questions or thoughts?
Hey Tim, if I'm your friend, I'm number 4. I don't have Facebook.
Yeah, you did have Facebook though, didn't you?
Yeah, man, it just got too time consuming.
All right, so you'll be back.
I'll be back.
All right, cool. Thanks, Damien. All right, and then so there's a little bit about more of the results just from what the intelligent search, and again, it's a intelligent search is something that Lindsay found through Career Crossroads, and it's a Chrome extension. So you just Google intelligent search Facebook, and you'll find the Chrome extension right at the top of the page. And then contacting the candidates on Facebook. So like I talked about, have the secondary account, be selective who you approach, proper messaging, all that's absolutely critical. And I love this. This is cool. It's not Facebook stalking, it's internet research. So perfect for what we're talking about here, because it is a fine line. So be conscientious of that when you're searching and sourcing. Managing your pipeline. All right, so what are we doing to manage our pipeline? Perfect timing. We have our pipeline tool now within MyHire. So that tool is going to be the Bible. You have your folders, so you can do that as well. I'll get into the pipeline recs. So these are all folders that I've created. Eric talked about it a little bit last Friday. So I separate it by position and location. So in Boston, I got a sales manager, but I can add other roles underneath it. Let's see a good example. Connecticut, you got technicians. Florida, HVAC techs. Just a great way to stay a little more organized, and because you can actually put people in there just by creating a general profile. So if you want to stay organized only in MyHire, that's fine. If you want to use an Excel spreadsheet, that's still great, but when that candidate goes from a name on a list to potentially interested, then we want to get them into MyHire and add them to one of these pipelining recs. We have a lot right now. The account managers, these service techs, controls account managers. We're already pushing 60 names in there, and that's where we're going to be going to when we have a need. So by organizing and staying organized, I think it's going to help us more as a company. One big thing that I'd like to stress when we're managing our candidates is adding notes. So we have a notes section here where you can add just a quick snippet regards to, hey, this person interviewed, was a great fit, and then they realize that they can't leave for another 3 years, or they have to pay back something, whatever the situation is, or hey, this person wants to reload. A great best practice moving forward is notes in the system that we can all see. We finally have a tool, and it's not perfect. It's not a perfect CRM, but we do finally have a tool where we can talk to each other through the candidate. We can talk to each other through messaging on there of, hey, I'm working with this candidate currently. Don't call this person. That's probably a big one, right? Because we do have a lot of crossover within our company. And then I'll show off.
Tim?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
This is Michelle. I just want to ask you a quick question. Are you sharing your subfolders that you created with, or are they just for you?
Yeah, I'm not. You can. It depends on what you want to do. So these folders I've had for a while, and I worked through them already. You can. It doesn't really matter. It's great if you do, and people can sift through them. But again, it's not a necessary just yet.
Okay.
Lindsay Monroe, would you agree with that? I know those are for more staying organized personally, and where we really want to get the candidates is into the pipeline recs, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. So, certainly just something we wanted to make everybody aware of in terms of your own personal organization in MyHire, not mandatory. Ideal state, it would have been really cool if we could have had those folders set up in the rec itself versus personal folders, but that's not a functionality of the tool. So we were just trying to give some options from organization side of things, and then kind of see what works from there.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Lindsay. And thanks, Michelle. Good question. Okay. And other questions? Sorry, I got really excited when I saw that guy. I just kind of liked him. I thought it was neat. Check Facebook. Oh, Andre gave us a little experience on technicians. I've found technicians in the past on Facebook as well. They check Facebook more than LinkedIn and CareerBuilder. So good validation there, Andre. Thank you very much. All right, last call for questions, or else you're going to get 13 minutes back in your day. Cool. All right, well, again, thank you for the participation, and thank you for the time. And this will be uploaded to the YouTube channel and uploaded to the SharePoint site. And everyone enjoy your weekend, please.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.